Hey everyone, I am the Blue Dwarf and welcome back to episode 9 of Terra Firma Rescue. Now, to start off today's episode, we're going to grab some barley that we have got here, and we might as well also grab some wheat that we have, and we are going to use this in the mill to make some flour, and then make that into dough and into some bread. So, just the first thing you do, once you've got the actual barley or wheat, whichever grain type you're using. So first of all, we have to process it from barley into barley grain. Same thing for the wheat. And we're just going to grab some wheat so that we can make it into a absolute whole stack. And we're going to use this in the quern and grind it up. I think we'll just grind it up barley one as well for demonstration. And we've got our wheat flour. Now with the wheat flour, we need a bucket of water. And we put the bucket of water in with the flour, and that gets us our wheat dough. We need 2 buckets of water, because we get 160 per 80 ounces of flour by the looks of it. When you're doing this process, wheat grain is the step in which it decays slowest. The dough is where it will decay fastest, and bread is in the middle. So what we need to do is we need to grab some logs, and we need to grab a fire starter from. I'll just make a fire starter. We can put our logs in there, put a piece of our dough in there, and light the campfire. And we can look at the taste profile at the different stages of how cooked the bread is, and that way we can try and optimize it so that the bread is best for our character. Currently, it's not any, but we can't eat it as raw dough anyway, so that's not really a problem. Probably don't need all of those logs in there. So in a second it will turn into bread. There we go. So bread, very light, and it's not fitting any of our taste profiles. Bread light. It may be that wheat bread is not our most ideal bread for eating, and if that's the case, we can use the grain for other things like making alcohols, and that can be used for other things later on. So once it goes to dark, that's as far as it goes before it will burn. So once we have our bread, we'll have the wheat as well. When we're in the cooking station, we can grab some other food out of here. So we can have vegetables, and make sure we have some to make sure that doesn't burn. Have some fruit as well. And the only thing we're missing we're missing a number of things out of here. We need meat and dairy, ideally, but we can have a sandwich with at least 3 of the food types. And this way, we also don't need to use bowls. And that's good for us because it means that we don't use up clay when eating food. So we can take that out of there for now. And might as well see about making the barley bread as well. Binding that up. Since we're here, don't drop that on the ground. And see if the fire can cook it before it goes out. Or we just throw another log in there. So yes, that's how we make a sandwich. And the sandwich is 10 ounces, which I believe is smaller than the salads. But you eat it all at once. So that's a useful food type. I have been out collecting a bunch of resources so we can do something called making a cellar. Now to make a cellar, we actually have to make a TerraFirmaCraft regular door, and to make that we need to make a screwdriver. To make a screwdriver, we're going to take our file, which we made in previous episodes, take 2 bronze ingots, and make 2 rods. And now we need to grab a hammer and grab our hammer out of the anvil. And we need to take those 2 rods, the file, and that'll make our screwdriver. And then I believe it's just as such, and we have our screwdriver. Now we also need to make a screw, which is by taking a saw and a stick and 2 short wooden sticks, and then together like that we have a screw. And then for making the wooden ring, we need a button. So we have TerraFirmaCraft wooden planks to a button, and then that with a knife, which I don't have on me because I need to go grab one. And grab a knife. And we have... Is it not a knife? Maybe it's positional. Maybe that's not the kind of button that we need. It's a Minecraft button, which we can get. There we go. Minecraft button, knife, wooden rings. Get 4 of those, and we have everything that we need for putting our door together. I believe, yes, a stick there, and that is our white elm door. We can now take that door and surround it with straw and clay, and we will get a cellar door. Now we'll actually need 2 of these, or we can get away with 1, but ideally we want 2 of them. We are going to also need to make the actual ice box. So this is where we're going to put ice, or ice bunker as it's called, put ice in there, and that will cool the room so that our food decays a lot slower. And some cellar shelving. This is where we will actually put the food inside, and as you see, it has a fair amount of storage to put stuff in there as it is, not in a vessel or anything, just regularly. And then cellar walls, where you will need approximately 2 stacks, if not a little bit more, for the size of cellar that I want to go for. So we're going to put all our resources in here. We're going to need to make some more planks, because that's 8. Yeah, we're probably going to need to go grab some more wood, but I'm going to make up a bunch more cellar blocks and make up another cellar door, and we will be back in a moment. So I've gotten all the resources needed to make the cellar, all of the cellar blocks and our cellar doors. And what we're going to do is, just with the house over there, we're going to build it just out in the open here for the moment, and then we're going to build a food house around it. So probably want to start one block forward so that we have some building space. So we're going to have it so that the inside is 3 blocks, so it's 5 on the outside, and then we'll have 2 going up, and then the roof coming across like that. And that means that this is the block that the ice bunker needs to go into. So with these cellars, you can make them between 0 and 3 blocks from the bunker. So this would be the max size in this direction, and you could make this direction up to 3 blocks as well, before you start running into problems. Oh, before it doesn't recognize it as a cellar anymore. So we're not building a max size one, but we are building a pretty decently sized one. Seem to have a lot of mobs that we have to deal with. Maybe I should have done this at daytime. So where will the wall be? The wall will be there. So what we're going to have to do is have another set of blocks there. So the way the doors work is we have one door like that, and the other door like that. And that way it sort of creates like an airlock to stop the cold going in and out. And that is part of the actual Cellar's add-on. That is functional. It doesn't cool down particularly quickly when there's nothing in, when the doors are open, but it still does cool down, and I think possibly for it to actually recognize it as the correct structure, you do actually have to having two doors. I'm just looking at the number of blocks we have here, so that would be, that's 5. So 6, 7. Okay, so we need a few more blocks, but we can finish it off to 1 block smaller than we wanted. So we'll be extending it 1 more block there. So we go inside, and we can see inside the ice bunker, and it's saying that has no doors. Might not like the fact that these blocks are here, so if we get rid of those, then it should recognize it as a full structure. Maybe you need to close both doors. There we go. So it's at 4.76 degrees, and if we just look at F3, the temperature that you can see up here is 5.99. So it's already colder than the ambient temperature, but it will go even colder once we put ice in here. Now we will also have our shelves in here with our food put inside in a moment, but to get the ice that we want, there's 2 ways of getting ice. The first way is waiting until it's wintertime, which it is technically speaking wintertime, but because of how close we are to the equator, we are around, well, we're at Z minus 750, or 7,500 actually, and the equator is at 0, and the North Pole would be equivalent of 30,000, I believe. So we're comparatively quite close to the equator. So we could either head a long way in that direction to find some ice, or what you can do is, if we turn NEI back on, we can use saltpeter powder, which we can get from grinding up saltpeter ore. Now, you might have noticed there is a place where we have found saltpeter ore, so what I'm going to do is going to go mine some up, and then we will be able to use our cellar. So I went and mined that saltpeter powder, and it gives you powder as straight up. You don't actually have to grind it up, and we are going to put 6 in each of these barrels, as it produces 10, so that will give us 4 times 60. Already does it pretty quickly. So we can take that ice and you just take the food that's in here for the moment. Grab a knife out of there to cut the decay off it, and we will go to our cellar, which still needs to have the house built around it. And once we can get inside and close the doors behind us, see, it's now currently 4.77 degrees, and we put the ice in, and it is now 1 degree Celsius. So you can put all of this food in here, and that will be nice and preserved. So I'm going to make some more shelving units and put the rest of the ice in there as much as well. And we will put all of our food in here now. I have moved all of our food into the cellar here, as you can see, and it's not as much food as I actually thought we had, to be honest. It's still a decent amount of food. It will last us a fair while, but definitely need to be growing some more, which is why I have also replanted all of our crops. As you'll see in harvest, anything that was harvested has gone in the cellar as well. And when we start coming out of the winter, we are now in early spring, so even now we could go on a little bit of an exploration and see if we can find some new seeds, because crops will start spawning on the ground again, and you can just, even in areas that you've already explored, new crops will spawn on the ground as if you'd found them wild when the world first generated. So now what we need to do is we are going to, as I said, build a house, a little house around this place. So I'm thinking of, we're still basically only using conglomerate because that's all that we have for a very long way away. I mean, you can see it's literally everywhere we've been, it is only conglomerate on the surface. Yes, you can dig down below to get stuff, but that is quite a hassle. So we can go along placing blocks, and I'm just going to place in a couple cobblestone ones every so often to mix it up a little bit. I still have my hoe on me from doing all those crops. And damn it, I didn't actually want to do that. So we will go like that. There we go. And we're just going to fill these areas in with stone, cobblestone, and build it up like this. Good old logs on the corners. Keep the torches lit up. And we will use some ladders in a second to actually get up on top of this thing. So we can start going along like this. Well, actually, I'm going to have that come along the front of the building like that. Logs come out like that. The same thing along the back of the building. Place extra ones on each end. Might have to get rid of some trees. And typical, it's becoming nighttime again. And we're just going to have it build up like that. So I'm just going to work on the roof for a second. So that's the roof all laid in. I also did a little bit more. I put 2 logs on each side, placed down a smooth one, and we now have, this is where we'll probably be having our food with our knives here, as this is where our food will be being stored. And I've just been trying to add a little bit of detailing along the sides of the walls, just going along with these lumber and going along like that. I think it looks pretty nice. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions for this building or anything else. I'd love to hear them. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the end of the episode. So thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day, and I shall see you all in the next one. Bye bye.